Right now, as World AIDS Day approaches, we still find ourselves in a society where thousands of young people are infected with the HIV virus. The Basic Education Department says over 1,000 adolescent girls and young women are infected in the country every week. On the other hand, it's believed the supply of government condoms is dwindling, both in the Eastern Cape and Gauteng. Let's discuss this now with Anele Yawa. He's the General Secretary of the Treatment Action Campaign. Mr. Yawa, thank you very much for your time. I mean, I don't know if you agree with my little analysis, if I could just share it with you. When I was growing up as a teenager, there was a lot of campaigns, a lot of, TV adverts and billboards, etc., warning me about HIV and how to protect myself. I don't see that happening a lot anymore. Have we gotten comfortable as a country?
Greetings to you, Maseko, and greetings to the viewers at home. I think we are experiencing many organizations on the ground continuing to do these campaigns, but they are doing these campaigns at a smaller scale. But I think one of the problems that we have is that immediately after, as the country, we rolled out ARVs to people living with HIV. We had millions of people on ARV treatment. Some of the people do not take prevention as a necessity. That's why it is important that all of us, we need to roll up our sleeves, go on the ground, spread the gospel about prevention, tell people which services are available within our healthcare facilities that are designed for prevention. We have condoms, we've got your PrEP, we've got lot of programs, but also the question we must be in a position to answer: what about communities that are far from the health facilities? How are they getting access to condoms and these services? So these are the things that social movements like your TAC and other community-based organizations must continue to do in ensuring that we bring these condoms to people, we bring the voice and the message about prevention to the people in schools and everybody.
And now tell me, do you think, when you look at it, do you think that the fact that we had COVID-19 and people were dying in large numbers on a daily basis, our resources as a country that already has very little resources in our healthcare system had to be redirected to the fight against COVID-19? We had to, procure a lot of PPE and the vaccines themselves. Do you think that that also put HIV as a secondary issue in our country, even though it's one of those illnesses that still plague South Africa?
I can say yes, because we have seen during the hard lockdown, when you go to clinics, HIV and TB services were no longer provided because the priority was COVID. And it is against that reason organizations like TAC and other progressive forces reached out to the political leaders and duty bearers to say, let's integrate services for HIV, TB, and COVID-19. But you also saw that a portion of money from HIV and TB conditional grant was diverted to response to COVID-19, yet we're still having more than 3 million people living with HIV who are not yet initiated on treatment, and we're still having new HIV infections. So it is against that reason we said there is no illness which is more important than the other. So let's not drop the ball on our response to HIV and TB because of COVID. Let's integrate. When we go to communities to screen people for COVID, to trace contacts, let's also screen people for tuberculosis. Let's also test people for HIV. When we trace contacts, let's also trace those people who are missing or who have defaulted on HIV and TB treatment. It is through that approach as the country where we will be able to say we are moving towards the right direction. And also, if South Africa, we are having more than 80 million people living with HIV and about 5 million people on ARV treatment. 3 million plus people who are living with HIV are not yet on treatment. And it is against that reason we are saying we need to treat HIV and TB the same way we treated COVID. Everyone living with HIV who is not yet initiated on treatment, they must be initiated on treatment so that we can save those lives as a matter of urgency.
Mr. Yawa, these statistics that we're getting from the Basic Education Department of about 1,000 young people, adolescents really, being infected with HIV every week in South Africa. And this is, of course, people who are being tested. We don't know where we stand statistically with those who don't want to go and get tested. What is going on? Why are we seeing so many young people being infected with this virus at the moment?
I think this goes back to parents, SGBs, teachers in school. Eh, do we have programs that talks about sex and sexuality? Because we cannot run away from the fact that young people at the age of 12 years are falling pregnant. Young people at the age of 12 years are starting to indulge on sexual intercourse. So it is against that reason we are saying the young people must be educated about safety measures of how one protects themselves from contracting HIV so that they can take informed decisions. The more we do not open doors in our schools and start conversations, it's the more we're going to see many people falling into this trap of being infected with HIV. But also, we cannot run away from the material conditions of our people. Majority of the people are unemployed. People are living under poverty. And as the result of that, people find other ways and means to put bread on the table. But also we've got this element of people who are well off, more especially men who will sleep around with young girls, throw money around without using protection. These are some of things that we need to condemn as the country. But also how do you condemn that if you are unable to provide something to that young person in order for them to fend for themselves? So we HIV infection and the living conditions of our people in South Africa cannot be separated. They go hand in gloves.